Hey, gang. So we just had our first day of CitCon 2953, which of course is 2023. We got Big Guns of the UE running in the background here. I thought that I would just kind of do a really quick hot take. This is actually the second time I had to do this because my settings in OBS got screwed up. But anyway, no time for that. No time for even the intro with the big dinosaur head and the rawr, because we're doing this quickly. All right, so I lied. So we'll still be quick though. So I'm just going to kind of go over each of the panels, kind of which ones that I thought were really good and which ones I thought kind of needed a little bit of work. So first one, shaping the verse. This one kind of, I think CIG will get some blowback on this one because it felt like an infomercial, and most of the people that are sitting down and watching CitCon for 6 to 8 hours are pretty much in the know on this thing. I think this was aimed at two audiences, though. I think it was aimed at people who haven't heard about Star Citizen, so people that do know the game could be like, look at this, look at what this game can do, and get other people playing the game. Another thing that I think that it was also aiming to do is a long time ago on Spectrum, I actually made a post where this is back when people were getting really salty about the ship sales, where you think they are now. This is back when the backlog was hundreds of ships or 100 ships or more, and none of these ships were rolling out and everything we have is outdated. But I was all like, revenue streams that aren't ship sales. And one of the things I suggested was CIG could actually sell tools. So they might not be able to sell Star Engine because at that point in time it was mostly CryEngine that they had modified. At this point, part of the settlement with Crytek might have been, we can take Star Engine and market it as its own thing. We've made so many changes that is effectively a different engine than Crytek, or different than CryEngine. So the thought would be that CIG could take Star Engine and go to other dev companies and be like, hey, you want to make a space game? We've got this engine with these tools. Give us money and you can license it, or we'll license it to you and you can make your own game. Yeah, this to me felt like that, especially since they had Star Engine, and then in the upper right corner, little tiny trademark sign. That kind of tells me that there's more plans for this, which is good, because it means they'll have a revenue stream with Squadron 42 selling that game. They'll have a revenue stream with other dev companies licensing out Star Engine, and they'll have revenue streams selling ships and skins and all of that. So it'll take the pressure off of them. They'll be diversified. They'll have different audience bases for all three of those, which is good. That's what we really want this project to get to. So it felt like an infomercial, largely because I think it was an infomercial. The next one was Fix and Fly It, where they talked about the engineering game loop. This was something that Scarlett was beaming about in the chat because it's all the engineering game loop, resource management, all that. Really cool one. This was probably one of the meatier panels today. So definitely check that one out. That one gets like an A+ in my book. Very, very cool. To actually see this stuff in action is amazing. And I was kind of hoping that they weren't going to just do a bare sketch, that they were going to actually show it in action, and they did. And it looks pretty far along. So we might be getting that one soon, like within the next 6 months, maybe the next 3, but it would be cool. Cosplay show, not much to say about that. It does kind of look like the Star Citizen community has kind of evolved to the next level for cosplay creators, that there was at least 4 or 5 people up there that had clearly invested a ton of love and time and energy into making their ships, and quite a bit of talent. The next one, Talking Ship, is kind of a weird one. Out of all the panels today, this one's usually the easiest one for Star Citizen or CIG to knock out of the park. It's just kind of a meatball where they basically just say, here's a couple new ships, here's the ships that we're working on, and here's sort of a plan for what we're doing next. And the community loves that sort of mode. So they kind of broke from tradition a little bit. They ended up spending probably about 12 minutes talking about the Banu Merchantman, which is, on the stream, I was kind of like, why are they talking about the Banu Merchantman? They're not working on it, which I knew they weren't working on it. And the thought was, yeah, maybe they're working on it and they're going to tell you that we've got more devs and they're going to start working on it and you're going to see it in a year. And no, they basically just had the Banu Merchantman thing, told us that the devs that were working on it left CIG, which we know, I've talked about that in the past, and that's still got a pin in it, but that they want to work on it, it's kind of like, cool, but why rub salt in the wound? And so that was weird. I get why they did it. Basically what's happening is a bunch of people are hammering them all the time, sort of saying, where's the Banu Merchantman? They don't understand that it has a pin in it because the insides of it are bespoke to this alien race that they haven't really figured out yet. And so they're focusing on RSI now, which is much better understood, which hurts me as a Banu Merchantman flyer, but I understand it. But having to see the Banu Merchantman and how far it made it through white box and even into parts of gray box was a little bit painful and probably unnecessary. They probably could have just spent 3 minutes saying, hey, we know you guys, there are a huge number of Banu Merchantman fans out there. We still don't have the resources to dedicate to it, but we're hoping to get to it soon. That would have been enough. Instead, they showed us, hey, look at all this work on it that we did that we're probably going to scrap when we put new devs on it. Here we are. But they did roll out the new ships. Of course, we more or less knew about the Cutter. Cutter is a great little ship. It's probably one of the strongest starters. This and like the 135C, in my opinion, are two of the best. 135C because you can spawn it at basically mining stations and stuff. So the Cutter, just because it's got all the utility, not the best fighter, but you're not getting starters to be fighters anyway. I'll probably get one of these for my alt account because that account uses a Cutter as its only ship. And this particular like scanner scouter ship, yeah, that works, is a better representation of that particular account than the sort of default cargo version. But anyway, Cutter Scout, we got it down here. Got a couple new paint schemes for it, which is kind of cool. Apparently the Cutter Scout is in the game right now, so I might grab a CCU and drop it on my other account. A couple new paint jobs, again, $45, $50, depending on how much money you want to throw at this. If you want to do credit or buy it new, or if you want to get the war bond, $45. So starter ship money. The big one that they dropped on us was the one that we suspected was the Zeus Mark II. So that's this one. We got 3 variants. One thing that was neat that they said about this was that a lot like the Spirit, they dropped it last year, CitCon, and they're dropping the actual ship on us this year. They want to do the same thing with the Zeus. So we'll be getting the Zeus next year around CitCon, if all goes as planned. Kind of a cool ship. It is, looks like it's a hair bigger than the Freelancer Max. Has a turret on the bottom, which is an interesting choice. And then the 2 guns on either side of the nose, you can see them there. The military version is interesting because it takes after the Scorpius and Terry's, where it has a snare and an EMP on it. So you've got a 3-person larger ship that can snare an EMP. And that is interesting. That's real interesting. All 3 of these ships are kind of cool. I'm not going to get all 3. I might CCU to either the cargo or the Explorer version, just that's more my bag. The military one is tempting, but not quite there yet. I'll have to think about this. I won't get a war bond. I'll probably get a CCU for this one. But anyway, those are the new ships. New ship one was kind of disjointed and weird. Like I said, this is one that they've kind of got their MO for how they do the ship talk, and they just kind of almost felt like they changed it up the day of. Like they said, you know something, we're tired of getting questions about the BMM, let's just crowbar that in here. They crowbarred it in there, and then they didn't really have enough time, and then they ended it early, and they didn't spend enough time talking about the Polaris. They did do a white box serve roll through the Polaris, but they spent way less time talking about the Polaris than I thought they would. But all in all, if you want to know about the Polaris, where its current state is, was a good one for that. Last one was navigating the verse. Oh, and I'll just show you the cost for this one. So you got 3 versions. You got the ES 135, the CL, which is the cargo variant, 135, and the military version is 170. So $35 more expensive, pretty standard. War bond offer, same thing. So that's the you get the Solstice paint if you're in the Chairman's Club. If you're not, you just get the regular paints, I think. Or you could get all 3 for $425. I don't suggest that. Credit offers 150, 150, 190. So that's what it'll be eventually when they release it. So comparable to like the Freelancer and the Cutlass. It's in that neighborhood. A little bit more expensive than the Cutlass. It's a tiny bit more expensive than the Freelancer, but basically in that neighborhood. Navigating the verse was all about the new UI. I was saying the worst possible outcome for this panel would be if they showed it to us and is all just conceptual and sketches and visuals of this is what we want it to do. And I was saying best case scenario is they show it all in action in game and say they're going to drop it to us in the next patch. They didn't go that far, but they did show it in game in a live environment, which is awesome. It means it's really, really far along, and it's probably not far off. So that one combined with Fix It and Fly It, if you're going to watch 2 panels from start to finish, those 2 are the ones that you should watch. The ship one, there's going to be so many breakdowns of the ship one, and there wasn't really a whole lot of information there that we don't already know. Probably not worth the watch. Shaping the Verse is going to be used as background imagery for Board Gamer and Super Mac Brothers and all those guys for a year to come, so you'll be seeing plenty of that footage. Other than that, gang, that's it. So catch me tomorrow for day 2, and we'll kind of go through that one too, and they'll kind of have a breakdown as they roll out the videos of each panel, kind of in more detail. So catch you next time.